Channel family, so have you ever tried an herb that's supposed to be a hormone balancing herb and you didn't really see the result that you was expecting or hoping for? Or maybe you even did find an herb that worked for you, but you found that you're always kind of behind and trying to get rid of symptoms or make your menstrual cycle come, but you want to actually be ahead of the curve. You want to be more proactive, and you don't want to take something forever. You don't want to be confined or constricted to having to take something every single day, because if you miss a day, then you're going to see, symptoms or whatever. So if you want to go deep and you want to have holistic healing, right? From the inside out, what I'm going to be sharing today is what I don't see anybody talking about, whether they're herbalists or, your doctors. They don't really talk to you about these different things. And I don't think that a lot of people even make these sort of connections. So I want to share, because for myself, I struggled as well for 10 years, and I don't want anyone else to have to do the same thing. So I'm going to share with you what I learned to where I was ultimately able to have regular periods in my 20s, finally find out how long my cycle was. I don't want that to be any other woman. So let me go ahead and share my screen and let's go ahead and get into it. This is like a mini class, so I definitely want you to watch it, rewatch it, take notes if you need to. I don't know how long it's going to be up, so definitely take advantage of this information. Share it with someone that you think might find it interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and share the missing key to hormonal harmony. So we're going to look at a holistic approach. So that's how you can find balance, find relief, and then renewed vitality. Stella getting her groove back. All right, so I always give a disclaimer. The information that I'm sharing is for educational use. You want to make sure you do your own research and you want to consult with a physician for the treatment of any condition, especially if you have any underlying condition, you take medications, etc. So if I were to talk about a certain herb, which I don't think I'm going to, but if I was, or if I was to talk about certain symptoms or whatever, you want to make sure you do your due diligence, do your testing, speak with your physician first before you decide to make your own protocols. All right, so feel free to ask questions. I'm here to help. I always encourage questions. There's no silly, stupid questions. Whatever questions you have, make sure you go ahead and share them. All right, so a little bit about me. You may not know my story. I struggled for over a decade of having sporadic periods. And so what I mean was, when I was 13 was the first time I had my menstrual cycle. And then it was like, okay, bye, see you in a couple of months. And that's how it always was for me. I would have like 3-4 periods a year. And sometimes I would even have to make them come. So I first started, like most people do, looking up what herb can balance my hormones. So I started taking evening primrose, and I found that after taking it for a couple of days, it would bring about my period. But I wanted to know what was going on in the first place. And now I did go to doctors, and they could never tell me what was going on. They could say their little theories that made, no sense. And it just wasn't true. But they just really didn't know anything. And so the crazy thing was, after I became an herbalist, after I started learning more about the different body systems and the things I'm going to share today, just from 1 month, I was able to fix it for good. So I don't have to take something every single day, week, month, whatever. I don't have to take it before my period's going to come. I was able to, and I struggled with this for 10 years. So it's just like amazing to me. Just from having a lack of knowledge, you can be struggling with something that you don't have to. Sometimes I would have cramping. Sometimes I even had clotting. That didn't happen very often, but sometimes it did. And I just wouldn't know what to do other than to take an ibuprofen. That's what a lot of women do on their period. And I never wanted to take medications in general, but you don't want to take something and then you kind of have a resistance to it because you're taking it so often. And so that's why I'm sharing in detail today the things that you need to consider if you want to actually have change. All right, so I get this question often. What can I use for hormonal imbalance? Now, I know a lot of times it just seems like I'm being very technical, but a lot of times people ask questions and they're not really the right question, or they just don't have enough context. And people don't realize, like the same way you go to a doctor, you fill out forms, you answer questions for the nurse before you even see the doctor. There's a lot of information that herbalists need as well. So when you ask, what can I use for hormonal imbalance? I don't know. Are you talking about a male or female? That's going to make whatever the answer is drastically different. What hormones specifically? There's a bunch of different hormones, and we're going to talk about some of them that I feel like are the most pivotal for the women's reproductive health and what I see with hormonal imbalance. And then is it excessive amounts that you have, or do you have a deficiency? All of that matters. You need to know all of this before you make your map. So when you look at a map, there's always a you are here. You go to a mall, you'll see you are here, right? So you need to know where you are first before you can get to your destination. You won't know the best route unless you know this first. And so that's why you always have to get the mindset right first. And you have to know what you're missing. So these are important things, male or female. What hormone specifically? Is it an excess or a deficiency, right? Now, these are just some of the hormones that I see most often that people may struggle with. Estrogen, progesterone. Those are the two main female hormones. Testosterone, the male hormone. Now, even though I say male, female hormone, of course, males have estrogen and things like that. But when we say female hormones, it's just because females tend to have a higher quantity of those. We have LH, luteinizing hormone, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Those are important when you're trying to conceive. Prolactin, thyroid hormone, cortisol. And like I said, there's more hormones. But these are some of the pivotal ones that I see when it comes to having hormonal imbalance. All right. So symptom matching. I always talk about how it doesn't work. Let me see if I can show myself a little bit. Yeah, symptom matching doesn't work. Why? Let me show you an example. So here we have a symptom, weight gain. It could be caused by the thyroid hormone. It can be caused by progesterone, estrogen, cortisol. It can even be, like I just showed here an example, it can be estrogen and an issue with the thyroid hormone. And even when saying thyroid hormone, there's T3, there's T4. So you really have to get specific. So you can't just go by, okay, I have weight gain. You read up a little bit about the symptoms of thyroid, like hypothyroidism. You're like, oh, I have 2 or 3 of these. It might be that. It could be estrogen. It could be both. So you can't really go by symptoms. And that's one of the things that a lot of people try to do as well. That doesn't work. The other part of it is that people don't understand that the body works in organs and systems, just like the galaxy has a whole bunch of different planets, right? So in our body, we have a whole bunch of different organs, cells, tissues, whatever. Any of them alone is not as strong as all of them together, right? So it's the harmony or the tandemness of them that gives us the functions that we have, right? And so with reproductive harmony, balance, health, it's not just the uterus. That's usually what people focus on. Oh, this person's going through menopause. They're looking specifically at, uterine tonics. Maybe they're looking at herbs that have the phytoestrogens in them, which are the plant estrogens. But you're missing so many other things. The thyroid is important for our reproductive health, for breast development, the development, metabolism, growth, all of that. Very important. The kidneys is very important. The kidneys and liver. A lot of times people don't realize that these make sure that we don't have excessive. Not only do they get rid of toxins, but they also get rid of excess hormones that we may need to. So these are hormone regulators as well. They're very important. The adrenals as well. Specifically after menopause, I really look at the adrenal health because they take on an extra role. Very important. Now, I'm going to go through this, quickly, but you can look at the rest of my playlist on women's reproductive health and hormones to see more videos where I kind of break these down further. The pancreas. Pancreas is very important. Talk about cortisol. We'll talk a little bit about insulin. Very important. especially for women that have PCOS. You see a lot of times they tend to have diabetes. I think it's like 40% will eventually get diabetes. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. The brain is very important, specifically the pituitary gland when it comes to reproductive health. And then again, I did talk about the liver. Okay, so if you're focusing on just one organ, right, but the issue is somewhere else, or the issue starts somewhere else, you're not going to get to balance. You're not going to actually have healing unless you go all the way down. So let me see what and I had that twice in there. All right, so let me break this down a little bit more. I think I'm missing a slide, but I want to talk about PCOS for instance, right? So it talks about cortisol. Cortisol, when you have stress, your cortisol levels go up. Now, when your cortisol levels go up, your insulin levels can go up as well. Now, when your insulin levels go up, so imagine this visually. When your insulin levels go up, then your levels of androgen, which are male hormones, go up as well. So this is why when people have PCOS, they have the insulin is there and they have a problem, like I said, like 40% will get diabetes, is because of that relationship. So if you're just trying to treat the cyst, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, if you're just treating the cyst, but you're not addressing the insulin problem, it's just going to fuel more and more cysts to keep coming back. And so you have to get all the way to the root cause. You can't just treat the cysts, which are the symptom, which are a byproduct. You have to go all the way to the source. So that's what I'm trying to share here. So it's all of this, understanding what the hormone is, understanding the relationship of the hormones and the relationship of the different organs as well, and making sure you're getting to the root cause of what's actually causing the imbalance. It's different. Even if you have the same symptoms, it can be for different reasons. So you want to get clear on that. All right. So I don't remember what the slide was. I apologize. But so you need to understand that first. All right. So if you want to know more about this, I have a course, but I also have a book. So the book has everything almost that's in the course. It has the notes, it has recipes, things like that. So if you're not interested in the course, or you don't have the money for it, whatever, all of that, understandable, you can just pick up the workbook. I think it's $35. The best $35 that can change your life, right? Less than a doctor's visit, less than medication that you can buy out of pocket a lot of times. All right. But if you were interested in the course, and I'll have all of the information down below, it comes with the course. This is the blueprint for sharing more about all of these different things. So you can just take the information that I shared, and if you have knowledge on all those things, you can look into it, do your own research as well. You can do self-study with the workbook as well. But you're going to have video notes. You're also going to have little assignments, and I'm going to check them, go through them. If I see maybe maybe something wasn't clear, you have questions, you need clarity or whatever, I'm here to do that. I'll also give you a copy of the workbook. With all of my courses, you get at least a book, and you get herbs. So you get 5 different the top 5 herbs for womb health. Also, you get information on my labor and post-delivery kit. So this course is not just about like menstruation. It's through all the stages of life. Menstruation, pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, and all in between, all the different issues that you may have. So it's not just for you, it's for your daughters, it's for your mom, it's for all the different women in your family. I have an extra hour plus class, which was called Women's Wellness for All Stages of Life. And there were women as well that had a Q&A section. I find that a lot of times people will ask questions that you're interested in. So you'll get access to that class. And there's a bonus. I also have a guide to herbs for children and pregnant women. I also have downloadable recipe cards, everything from teas to different balms, juices, etc. You also get, like I said, personal feedback from me, and you get a certificate of completion. So a lot of times people want to know, will I be a certified herbalist? So there is no body that certifies herbalists, so you won't necessarily be a quote unquote certified herbalist. ever, but you will get a certificate. So I will say my certificate, say how many hours you completed, all of that. So you get that. And if you want to see more about what the book looks like, I don't actually even offer the ebook on the website. It's only something specific for those who get the 30 plus hormonal imbalances and their root cause, that freebie that I have. So if you're interested in getting an offer to get the ebook, you can opt in. But this is just some of the things that it has in there as I talked about recipes. So I have a psychoregulator tea, that my most popular tea that I actually do sell, called the best tea period. I also have illustrations in there so you can learn more about the body. I also have pregnancy tea and other recipes as I talked about. You can see much more information. It goes in depth. It talks about PCOS in depth. It talks about fibroids and what I would do, protocols for menopause, etc. So if you're interested, you can check that out below. But I hope that this video was helpful for you. If you feel like you have more clarity on maybe what you're doing wrong or where you need to go next, do let me know. Whatever questions you have, go ahead and leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.